Okay, so on a semen analysis, there's lots of things that are checked. Count, concentration, pretty self-explanatory, the number that are available in that sample, motility, how they're swimming, and then there's morphology. Can you explain a little bit about what morphology is actually testing for? Because this is one I usually get a lot of questions about.
Sure. So morphology is testing basically the healthy shape of the sperm. How do they look? Do we have one head, one body, one tail? Are they all at the right size and length and proportional to one another? Or do we have variations? No heads, no tails, two or three of those things, or are the lengths different, shape different? That's essentially what it's testing. And for all the listeners who are not aware, the majority of sperm that men produce are abnormal, and that is considered normal. Right. So we are, for what's considered normal in a morphology workup is 4% normal, which means 96% of the sperm that you're producing are abnormal and not healthy. That's what it means. And so we need to recognize that. Now we're trying to increase that number and improve it. And we also have to base that percentage off of our counter concentration. Right. So the counter concentration is given in a number versus the other values are typically given in a percentage. And so if you've got 4% of 10 million sperm, it's very different than 4% of 100 million sperm or whatever. Let's just say that number's lower. Let's just say that number's 2% or 1%. You've been told you have abnormal morphology. Well, that number is very different if you've got 2% of 10 million or 2% of 100 million, right? And so all these numbers work together and we need to look at them in relationship to one another.
Right. How much weight do you think morphology carries in male factor infertility?
I've swayed about that often.
For myself, not for listeners, because this is one I struggle with so much in my practice is morphology. How serious is it? I find a lot of fertility clinics don't even mention it or care, and it's crazy sometimes to me to see a 0%. I had this just this week with a client, a 0% morphology, and their clinic said to them, everything looks great, there's no concerns. I'm like, but none of your sperm are normal. So how is that not a concern?
Yeah. So what I think is, and which is why I brought up the last example.
Right.
Okay. Is I've seen and had many men father children with 1% morphology or 2%. So coming to your point, by the way, of 0%, I've not seen it with 0%. So with 1% morphology, because all the other numbers looked very, very good.
Yeah.
And so to that point, I was like, okay, well, we're going to try and improve this and change this. I want to still try to improve that number, but I'm not as worried about it as I would be as if counter concentration was 2 million. And we, that would bother me much more in those circumstances. And so, I've had the same scenarios you just laid out where clinics have said 0%, no problem. Like, this is a problem. Right? We can't have 0 normal looking sperm and think that we're going to have healthy children. So I think from a healthy children perspective, I think it's essential. I think it cannot be ignored. Have I had clinics who say I don't even look at morphology anymore? Yes, I think they're crazy that they don't look at it. But the reality is in their minds, from a IVF perspective, they just need as many good-looking sperm as they have eggs to fertilize. So they don't need millions or hundreds even. They just need single digits or tens or 20, right? Right. Yeah. So they're thinking about it very differently. Like, oh, I might not have a million, but I could find 10.
Right.
Right.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're thinking about it. They're thinking about it definitely very differently than we are.
Yeah.
With that being the case, is anytime I see a history of miscarriage, I am absolutely putting value in morphology.
Right.
Without a doubt. We cannot have a situation where we have recurrent pregnancy loss and not put any value in the male partner. And especially this is where we look at, or I look at, morphology in this situation. And that's something that doesn't get talked about enough, in my opinion. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I agree.